everybody, and welcome to Daily Miles. Do me a solid, smash that like button down below. And while you're down there, if it would be so pleasant of you if you hit the subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, thanks. All right, let's get into it. On today's agenda is all about shooting Chapter 4, Section 1, The Test. If this test is successful, and I like how it looks, and it feels like it, if it can work, then you know what? I'm shooting the whole damn thing right here. And there's really no reason why I shouldn't. Because, they're conifers, they're sequoias, redwoods, and this is the vision I had in my head all along, so why wouldn't I? That's the plan. And in the meantime, not a whole lot is going to happen except for this.
Amelia's Stories, Chapter 4, Section 1, Amelia's Love Life. I was taking the roast beast out of the oven while my grandmother was telling me the rest of her dating life story. She continued, the bus driver, he was too old to enlist, but he did drive a bus 5 nights a week, and on his off nights, we went out dancing. He wasn't such a good kisser, but boy, could he cut a rug. There was a plumber who lost his wife, he didn't last that long, and the lawyer who I met while I was having my first husband declared dead. I interrupted her. Jesus, Grandma, just how many men were you dating? She thought for a moment, then started counting on her fingers. About 13 or so, she said. At the same time, I asked? Maybe. My sister called me the hussy of Howland Street. How'd you keep them all straight, I asked. Well, one like this, one like that. It was just a matter of focusing on the this and the that, and she just giggled. You know that knowing giggle? She started drinking fat drippings from the roast beef. I stammered the obvious question, did any of them know about each other? She said, some did, some didn't, and she replied matter-of-factly in that case. Then I asked, well, did you get any marriage proposals? And she replied, more than a few.
Well, I think that actually worked out quite nicely. Well, I do. I think it worked out quite nicely. So I'm going to shoot I was about to say chapter 2. I'm going to shoot section 2 here, which means I'm pretty much going to shoot the whole thing here. Although, I could go up the road. There are more of these things. Look right there. Look at that. The tree is fucking gorgeous. How could you not want to do stuff here? I don't get people. I really don't. Anyways, I'm gonna shoot here, I think. It's a beautiful little patch. Did not think that this was gonna work, but clearly it does, so we'll try it out, kiddies. All right. It's a little too bright right now to do section 2, so I'm gonna wait about 2 or 3 hours and then try section 2. What do you think, kiddies? All right, section 2 coming at you right now.
Amelia's Stories, Chapter 4, Section 2, Amelia's Love Life. My grandfather took a long pull on his stogie as he was getting up out of the chair. Then he exhaled and the smoke filled the air swirling around him. Standing up, he began. Son, by the time I came along, your grandmother had dated nearly every man on Blue Hill Avenue, and she hadn't married none of them yet. Time was on my side. I wasn't too worried. My plan was working just fine. I asked, you mean your plan of being indispensable to her? He had started walking down the hallway to the kitchen, and I followed. He said, look, it got me in the house, and it got me to see her, and that was the important part to me, he said, pulling on his stogie. But Grandpa, she was dating other men. He stopped and turned to face me. Well, I'm the one that married her, didn't I? So I guess I must have done something right. Right? He said, poking his finger into my chest and winking. I couldn't argue with that.
Look at that up there. Wow. I just can't get enough of this stuff. I really can't.
I know. To you, it probably just looks like trees. To me, it's beautiful. Alrighty, kiddies. That is enough yapping from me today. Or is it? Try this on for size.
Amelia's Stories, Chapter 4, Section 3, Amelia's Love Life. I had woken up to my grandfather's famous potatoes and onions frying in the pan, and he was just taking the sausage out of the warmer when I arrived. I had gone upstairs early this morning to get an answer to my question, what was his grand plan? As he told it, my grandparents fell into a familiar pattern of interaction. Amelia would call, he'd go over, and then she'd go out with some new guy that had asked her out on a date. I asked if he had met any of the men that she was dating, and he said, sure, as a matter of fact, a few of them ended up being at our wedding, he said. He loaded up my plate with food at that point, and we went into the dining room. It was just the two of us this morning. My grandmother never ate breakfast with him. He would fix her a plate and then go serve her in bed every morning. He continued, they were nice fellas, and he stopped. But, I questioned, but not one of them moved her. Over time, your grandmother and I became very good friends. She eventually started confiding in me to get a man's perspective. She thought she was in the clear. She wasn't. I hadn't given up. I just didn't tell her my plan. My grandmother yelled from her bed, good breakfast this morning, Phil, thank you. As he explained, look, every time that she'd go out on a date, she'd always come home to me.
Yep.
3 episodes. I know, the realm with the hard to believe. I usually do 2. I was feeling energetic, so you got 3 out of me. So bing, bang, boom. Got 3 episodes today. It might not be 3 tomorrow, but today it's 3. So I'm going to wrap up today's episode. But before I do, I have to do today's patron appreciation. And today's patron appreciation goes to Chris. Chris I've known, again, since the 7th grade. What is this, the 7th grade clan? I think it's the 7th grade. Chris, please correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, I've known Chris a very, very long time. And he has always struck me as a down-to-earth guy. Straight shooter, clear, clean, no bullshit in him. And he's grown up that way. He's just boom, 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 clear and direct. He's salt of the earth. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Salt of the earth. He's that kind of guy. And he's basically stepped up in 6 ways, more ways than you can shake a stick at this point. So thank you very much to Chris. Without him, I pretty much wouldn't be here. If it weren't for Chris, he basically pulled my ass out of a fire, not once, not twice, but on 3 separate occasions. So thank you very much to Chris. Alrighty, kiddies, that is enough yapping for me today. Thanks a bunch for watching. I appreciate all of my patrons, not just one, all of my patrons on and off Patreon and on Facebook. Alrighty, Facebook and YouTube. Thank you a bunch for watching. Thank you a bunch. Yes, thanks a bunch for watching. I appreciate your time, your patience, and your patronage, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Daily Miles. Bye!